So let's rewrite the expression using each base only once. So now when you simplify the expression, you have to multiply the numbers, multiply the coefficients, right? So I'm going to multiply the coefficient, which is 3 times by 5. And I'm going to put these two together, and a to the negative fourth and a to the ninth power. And you see that there is same base. So you remember the multiplication property, multiplication, like when you multiply powers with same base, you can just combine these two, right? Okay, so now it's going to be 15 times by a, negative 4 plus 9, and 15 and 8 to the what power? Fifth power. Today we're going to talk about the rule when you divide powers with the same base. So now we're going to divide it. So now, but before we divide it, let's just think about what's 8 to the 7th power means. The 8 to the 7th power means you multiply a how many times? 7 times. So I need you to copy it on your paper. Okay, so now what about 8 to the 4th power? You multiply, it's not 4a, a times, you multiply a 4 times, right? Okay. So now I'm going to divide this to two exponents. So now if you divide it, I'm going to just, I'm going to divide it. This means over means division, right? So I'm going to divide it. What's going to happen? So this a will be canceled out, right? A will be canceled out. There's another a will be canceled out. So how many a's will be canceled out in total? 4 a's will be canceled out, right? So how many a's will be left on the top? It should be 3. So the answers are going to be, let me change the color. Okay, it's going to be a to the 3rd power over 1. But you can just say a to the 3rd power. So now let's think about how you get 3. You can also, do Misong's strategy, just write it out everything, right? 7 times, 4 times. But there's, we can generalize this rule. Like you have 7 and 4, and how you get 3. And like I mentioned it, you can count the number of a's actually cancel out. We had 4 a's canceled out, 4 a's. From how many a's? From 7. You get 4 a's canceled out, so you get 3. So which operation are we using here? You're using subtraction. So dividing powers, it's related to the subtraction. Okay, so now let's do x to the 5th power. X, we have 5 x's, and we have how many x's at the bottom? 3 x's are multiplied. And now 3 x's will be canceled out, which means you subtract 3 x's from 5. So now you only have 2 x's on the top. So the answer is going to be x to the 2nd power. What about this? You have 7 x's and 5 x's. X, you multiply x 7 times, and you have x 5 times. How many x's will be canceled out? These 5 x's, these 5 x's will be canceled out. So the answer is going to be x to the 2nd power. So you can also say 7 minus 5, it's 2. I'm talking about the exponents. So now what about x to the 5th? You have 5 x's and 5 x's. And now all x's will be canceled out. So there's only 1 left on the top and the bottom. So the answers are going to be 1. And based on what we're talking about, you can just subtract 5 and 5, right? So if I do 5 minus 5, what is it? X to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power? 1. To divide powers with the same base, subtract the exponents. I need you to circle it and put 5 stars on it. Subtract the exponents. So you have a m times, and you multiply a n times. So now you need to subtract them. So it's going to be a to the m minus n power. So we already talked about a lot of examples, but let's just, do 3 more examples. So 2 to the 6, when they have same base, it only works when they have same base. So now we have 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So now you have 6 2's and 2 2's at the bottom. So 2, 2 will be gone. So you have 2 to the 4th power left. Or if you know this property, then you may also just say, oh, I learned this. You can just subtract 6. You can subtract 2 from 6, which is 2 to the 4th power. It's the same thing. So the next one, we generalize the rule. So you can just subtract. You always subtract the bottom one from the top one. So the top one is 4, so 4 minus 7. What is 4 minus 7? X to the negative 3rd power. What does it mean? This negative means you flip it, and you put the leftovers. There are still people who don't get this, but I really need you to understand. 2 to the 4th, 2 to the 2nd, 4, 2, 1. What am I doing here? I'm going to divide it by 2. Divide it by 2. So the next one is going to be 2 to the negative 1st power. It's going to be 1 divided by 2, which is 1 over 2, right? And then the next one, 2 to the negative 2nd power, you're going to divide it by 2 one more time, so it's going to be 1 over 4. So basically, if you look at these two, the relationship between these two, to find 2 to the negative 2nd power, 2 to the negative 2nd power, you find 4, and then you're going to flip it. So you're going to find 4, and you're going to flip it. All right, the next one. So we have S and not and, okay. And we have 3 to the 4th, 3 to the 4th, and you subtract the bottom exponents, 1/2. So S, what is 3/4 minus 1/2? 3/4 minus 2 over 4, so 1 over 4. So the answer is going to be 1 over 4. Let's look at the problem 1. What is a simplified form? So let's check if they have same base. Same base, X and X, they have same base, so we have no problem. So what do you need to do? You subtract. So X, we have 5 over 2 on the top and 2 at the bottom. So you're going to subtract 5 over 2 minus 2. That's going to be X. What is 5 over 2 minus 2? 2 is 2 over 1. So you multiply by 2 and 2. Because we can subtract when you have same base. So it's going to be 4 over 2. That's going to be 1 over 2. And the answer is going to be 1 over 2. And x to the negative 1/2 power. This is going to be the answer.